Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin James from Scalp MicroPigmentation Australia, and welcome to another 5-minute fast facts on Scalp MicroPigmentation, the Pro Artist series, where we're interviewing some amazing scalp micropigmentation practitioners from around the world, getting their tips and tricks on how you can get the best out of your scalp micropigmentation transformation. On our segment today, we have an artist from the UK who came from a hair barbering and hair restoration background. He successfully started a scalp micropigmentation training academy, for which he received a nomination for the Best Training Academy at the Team Micro Awards this year. He was also a finalist in 2018 for the Rising Star Award, which means that he was recognised by his peers in the industry as being very talented for an artist under 2 years' experience in the industry. Getting his business off to a flying start today, we are talking with Mr. Kevin Langley with us. Welcome, Kevin. How are you?
I'm really well, Caitlin. I'm very good. Happy to see you. Glad to see you're safe and well.
Yes, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to chat with us.
Welcome.
Lovely. So let's get straight into it. Tell us a little bit about your background. What led you to become a barber, and ultimately what started you off into adding scalp micropigmentation into your business?
Okay, so I'd say it probably went back from probably when I was a child. I used to get taken around to a lot of salons with my mum. She used to spend an extreme amount of money on her hair salons. And throughout the whole of going through secondary school, I always had it maybe in my head that I was going to be going to the hairdressing industry. Yet my parents also wanted me to go more down the route of studying law.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to my GCSE finals, and I told my parents that I was not going to be following their career path dreams and that I actually was going to go to beauty school, they freaked out. I chose to go to beauty school. I studied an MVQ, which is a national vocational qualification here in the UK, in beauty, and I really struggled with it. I think it was partly because the fact that 20 years ago, as a male in that industry, it was not very known.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided that I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. I was always segregated about it. I went into the hairdressing side of the industry, and it was a completely different industry. It was a lot more accepting. I was welcomed with open arms. But again, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy hairdressing. I felt that hairdressing wasn't right for me. It was quite personal. It was a lot more technical than I ever probably thought it was going to be than it looked.
Mm-hmm.
But I gained the qualifications, and I was basically stuck. I had nothing else to do. So I was told to try barbering. I went into barbering, completed my MVQ level 2. Then I developed my career further than that. Went and got my MVQ level 3, which is like one of the highest grades you can for barbering here in the UK. Whilst doing that, I was working along some of the most successful branded name companies here in the UK whilst I was sort of doing the apprenticeship. And that really helped me learn the fundamentals to the industry rather than just it being specific for barbering. So we learned quite a lot. I was really fortunate in the years that I did it. We owned 5 salons, so it was quite good. Me and my partner, we owned 5 salons. But I lost love for it. It was very monotonous.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always wanting to be more creative. I was always outside the box. So we then went back and introduced the elements of my beauty training and introduced male grooming services. So we introduced a lot of the treatments for like the men's shaving treatments, the body treatments such as the male waxing, the chest, back, some other areas that we used to treat. But again, the industry here in the UK is quite limited. So I think depending on your demographic of where you are in the areas, whether it's a city centre or whether it's like a smaller suburb town, I sometimes think that some of the treatments that I was doing was probably a little bit forefront. Probably a lot of the people weren't ready for them, or sometimes people think that it was overly priced for what the service was, but it wasn't taking into account how much effort, time, costs, that goes into some of the treatments that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a massive bombshell dropped on me. So I basically got diagnosed with body dysmorphia, and I was told that the industry that I was working in, that I loved, and pretty much was the only training that I ever had, was potentially making me sort of like mentally ill. And so I was told to stop. My doctor said, it was a good thing, when you're stood in front of a mirror, 6 days a week for 10 hours a day, you do become a little bit body conscious. And at first I didn't really recognize it. But then when I started looking into it more, I realized that actually that was me. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I was always stressed, and I wasn't happy. And I was told to stop, so I stopped. And I decided at that stage that I needed to have, a career change. When I was at senior school, one of the highest grades I got was from art. Mm-hmm. I loved art. I loved the freedom that it gave you to be expressive, to be creative in a different form. So I thought, right, I'm gonna go and become a body art tattooist. I love tattooing. Well, I've got quite a few tattoos. I love tattoos, and I thought, right, that's the plan. I'm going to become a tattooist. And I'd worked alongside a guy who I knew, who was running a successful tattoo company, mm-hmm. and he was going to take me on as his little shop apprentice. And for a long time, I'd say for a good 6 months, I pretty much was cleaning his shop. I was doing all the fundamental stuff, setting up different types of machines, all the different types of core machines for whatever tattoo he was doing, helping out with orders. And I realized tattooing is really hard. And then one day, all of a sudden, he said, right, come on, let's go tattoo some melons. And we figured out very, very quickly, I cannot tattoo or draw to this same sort of standards that you need to have to become a body art tattooist. Mm-hmm. And he then said, maybe this is not for you. He said, look, you've got so many other skills, he said, like, look at the existing skills that you can combine with the treatments that that you can do with what you want to do. That's when I sort of found out about permanent makeup, and I was not really into it. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's for me. But then scalp micropigmentation popped up as one of the units, and we researched it and looked into it, and I thought, you know what, that's absolutely perfect. Because over the, I'd say the 7-8 years of us running the salons, hair loss was one of the biggest things that I saw men going through. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't old age men. It was the younger guys who was having thinning issues and concerns. And so I thought, oh, that's it's a great opportunity to add something different. Quite a lot of people had hair system, hair replacement systems here in the treatment in the UK, but not many people did the SMP. Mm-hmm. And so I went in scalp micropigmentation, and I was hooked. I was literally hooked from day one, from the very first client. Even today, every single day now, I'm hooked. You can't go down the street without seeing someone who's got some sort of area of concealment that you think, oh yeah, he would be a good candidate for SMP. The techniques that we've changed over the years for our clients to make it more effective, mm-hmm. It's now been, it's been so much of a change, because from what we saw 5-6 years ago to what we see now is like ultra realism, and I think that's what's fantastic for clients to see it. I love it. Really love it.
Why do you like to offer both the hair systems as well as scalp micropigmentation to your clients?
I love offering both the hair replacement systems and the scalp micropigmentation treatments for clients, so that they do have an option. A lot of clients do still want to have hair. A lot of clients that are thinning do want to have hair. They do want to express themselves by styling for their hair. Not everyone wants to have the Jason Statham shaven effect. And I think we have to be able to provide all the services for the clients.
Yeah, brilliant. And being a barbering background, I'm sure they're in great care with you, and with their design and colour and fitting them as well. So you're in the perfect role there to be able to look after that client whichever way they choose to go.
Again, I didn't realise how much I actually relied on my barbering experience to join up with the scalp micropigmentation. So like now when we teach the scalp micropigmentation, even teaching whether it's to the clients how to maintain their scalp micropigmentation, my knowledge from the barbering side of the industry to advise them on what products they should be using, what clippers that they should be using, any aftercare products that we're using, is actually come probably pretty much from my scalp, not from scalp training, but from the barbering training. So yeah. Got quite a good background for them to come in, and also advising them on how to manage the length, creating the looks, how we can create an individual look for the scalp micropigmentation, because we do understand the difference between sort of more European sort of styles to Afro-Caribbean styles. I used to cut hair. I'd say like I wasn't like a traditional barber. I was like more an emerging barber. So we did a lot more of the trendy stuff, the cool stuff. So we was like always about the fades and the blends, doing edge ups. And it's kind of crazy because when I was in the South, so I'm from the South, yet live in the Northwest, there is a South-North divide, I think, because in the South we did have a lot more choice of clients. So there was like ethnicities, backgrounds, whereas in the Northwest it's limited here. So like most of my clients in the Northwest for scalp micropigmentation are the white Caucasian males. Whereas if I was in the South, I would get to do a lot more of the treatments that I love. I like a edge up. I like how some of the the world's best artists create an edge up, but on my type of clients, on the age clients that we get, it would be really unprofessional. It wouldn't suit them. So I follow a lot of clients' advice, when they're saying, well, this is what they like, but we have to sort of adapt it to suit them. And I don't think if I didn't have such a broad knowledge of hairlines, the styles, the taperings, the harder profiles, the softer, more natural results, from the barbering industry, the tapering, the blending into the facial, because obviously that facial micropigmentation is now quite popular here. Looking at different types of blends that we get from that is all come from a barbering background. So I think this has been a natural progression. It's been a long journey, studying the years that we did for barbering, and then all the years of permanent makeup, and then into the years of scalp micropigmentation. It's actually been a long journey. So yeah. I mean, if they come to me.
So with your business offering a range of services for men, do you find that once say a guy has come through for his scalp micropigmentation, that he then sort of comes back and tries some of your other services as well?
So when you're in hairdressing, the industry is not just about cut and blow dry. It's about sales, and at the end of the day, any business, to be successful, you need to be able to sell the products that the client needs. So I am not a pushy salesperson, but I'd say I'm an informative salesperson, and I would always give the client advice of actually, look, this treatment would be beneficial to you. This treatment could help you, and we always try to inform them about other treatments are available. A lot of clients do return. With the scalp micropigmentation, I don't like clients returning. Because they come back too soon, and if they do return too soon, I know they're at a high risk for me where they are going to potentially have negative effects of the results, like maybe potential pigmentation bleeding or saturation. But I do want them to come back, to experience all the other treatments. Plus, we can get a checkup on the scalp micropigmentation, because that's the hard thing, because it is a permanent solution. Some clients don't come back for a long time. When I first trained, we used to get told to tell our clients every 8 to 10 years. And I was like, well, how am I going to ever see any of my clients? If they only come back every 8 to 10 years. Whereas now we tell our clients to stay in touch every 2 years, every 18 months to 2 years. We can have a checkup on the pigment. And we're not saying that we are going to offer them a new treatment or a touch-up. So it might not be needed, but just to see how it's healing, how it's and stuff like that. But yeah. A lot of clients will return, but mostly they'll have more advanced treatments. Like not a lot of men like to admit it, but they might have some Botox. They will have other treatments like that. So yeah. I think now it goes hand in hand. Aesthetics and micropigmentation is actually, a lot of men do a lot more treatments, and we've got you ladies to thank, really, because you ladies are all so beautiful now, and you're all doing these treatments. I think men are a lot more confident now to realise that actually, if they want to have a beautiful lady on his arm, he's got to make more of an effort.
Well, I think it's also a bit of the emotion that comes with having scalp micropigmentation, and you can give someone that confidence. They can work on themselves a little bit more as well. So they do have the SMT to really take away any concerns or confidence issues that had, the hair loss had given them, maybe they work on something else as well. So maybe looking after their skin, or like you said, with the Botox and fillers, they're always really complementary treatments to SMP, because it can then, I guess, help them feel good about something else that bothered them.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, is that they feel confident. A lot of people do come lacking, confidence, and they don't. Not everyone. Everyone thinks this is through vanity, and it's really not. Hair loss is mostly a genetic issue, and it's something that's out of our control. Now, we can change the color of our hair, we can go dye it, but when it comes to hair loss, there is nothing you can do unless you want to look at a medical solution such as a hair transplant, which is not always an affordable solution. It's not a safe solution. Scalp micropigmentation is proven to be 100% effective. It does work, treatment after treatment. Is it the best treatment? Sometimes no, because you might go to a practitioner that is less experienced, less educated. They might not have had the same sort of training or put in the same amount of effort, but it is 100% effective. It covers the area of the skin, conceals it, and it will give an illusion, if it's done well, as a shaven follicle. There's nothing else out there that can do it. I still get shocked now, 5 years down the line, that scalp micropigmentation is still so far behind in the industry, where some of the other treatments are flying out. Some treatments like the PRP treatments now, the results, to get the results for them are several months, and even then the results can be minimal. Hair transplants, the number of grafts that people have and do have is minimal. So like a hairline can be like 1,500 grafts, 2,000 grafts maybe, and that's not enough to conceal the whole head. So then they have to go back and have multiple treatments. Then they end up with multiple scarring. Then they come to the scalp micropigmentation artist anyway to have it concealed. So I think SMP is a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm team with them.
Team SMP for sure.
100%. I'm an advocate. Do you know what? If I didn't have so much hair, I would shave my hair off and have SMP, because I can't manage this. I look like all the time crazy. I'd shave it off, and I'd love to be able to just get up, have a shower, and go, instead of like having to mess around and colouring your hair and hiding the greys, and yeah.
All right. Well, how about you end by telling us one of your favourite transformations that you've done for a client?
Okay. So a lot of the clients that we see, they are varied. From age. We've seen young clients. We've seen older clients. My oldest client was 86, and one of my youngest clients was 23. It was that client. His mum basically, I won't say his name, but his mum basically contacted me asking if I could help out with a treatment to tattoo his eyebrows. And I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, but he needs to get in contact with me. I said, I don't like really working with his mums. I want him to have it. I don't want it to be like a treatment that's been forced upon him. And he got in touch and said, look, he wanted it done. When we actually met, he, and we just, discussed, why he was having it done. It was very clear that, he was living with alopecia. Alopecia is something, again, that it affects different people in many different ways. And when I started hearing about his life and how alopecia did affect him, and it was through the loss, he had a bereavement, so his dad died, and it caused him to have complete hair loss, full body hair loss and stuff like on his head, his eyelashes, his body. And he showed me pictures of him, what he used to look like, and he showed me, how he used to act and his things. And when I saw the change in him from doing his eyebrows, I saw his confidence change. And I said to him, look, do you know that we can help, with your hair loss concern, with the scalp micropigmentation? And he didn't really know what it was. And we discussed it with him, and we just discussed it with his mum. And I said, look, I just want to help you. I said, look, I've come from a background where I've struggled with body image. I can see how you're struggling. I said, look, I don't want no money for it. I said, I'm just going to do the treatment as a gift to make you feel happy. Consider it. Anyway, he considered it, and he said yes. When we did his SMP treatment, from session 1 to session 2, which is only a couple of weeks apart, I saw such a huge difference. From the second and the third and final treatment that he had, it was so funny, because he had quit his job. He was working in a place where he was really unhappy. He had quit his job. He had joined a dating app, and he's just like, he just was so thankful, and he was like, this is all because of you. A few months after completing his treatment, he's like, oh, I've got a girlfriend, and he's like, he set up his own business, and he's like, this is all because of you. And I'm like, I was like, it's not because of me. I said, it's you. I said, this has always been you. I said, you've always had the ability to be in it. I said, I maybe just helped you believe and see who you are again and something like that. And it was like, he was good. And every now and then I get a message from him all the time. And, you know, I love that. And sometimes it's not always got to be the big grand changes that we make for everyone, but you know, there are stories like that you're always going to remember.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get some clients. I've had a client where his wife to be basically wanted to book him in for some SMP, and I was just like, yeah, cool. So we did it, had a consultation with him, and he was like, yeah, cool, just do it. And when he actually come, his fiance didn't come with him, and when we started talking, he's like, I don't even want it done. And I was like, well, why are you doing it then? And he was like, well, because she told me that she wants me to look the best as possible for the wedding pictures. And I was like, oh, slightly like, oh, what do I do? Obviously, this is a treatment. And he's like, no, I'm going to do it. I was like, okay. So we started doing the treatment. And I said, well, if someone had told me to change who I was, for a picture, I'd have told them to get lost personally. He come back for the second treatment and he ditched her. And he was like, he's like, for advice. He's like, I've ditched it. And I was like, whoa, hang on. Let's just be clear. I didn't tell you to ditch your fiance to be. And he's like, no, I feel more confident. He's like, I feel like she's put me down. And there's stuff like that, which is, you're never going to forget that, because like someone.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really bad. And I was like, oh my God. So now I have to be like, because I'm really casual and I'm like, I'd say I'm like friendly and stuff. I think maybe sometimes we have to forget that what we do say. And when we are making these big changes, we have to be really careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much about talking all things SMP with us today. We've covered quite a lot of different topics here. So thank you so much. And thanks for being on our 5-minute fast facts on Scalp Micropigmentation Pro Artist series. Hopefully someone out there who is watching, that you've helped them sort of work out whether this is a really good solution for them. Maybe they're experiencing some hair loss and want to give Scalp Micropigmentation a go. So thank you so much for chatting with us today.
You're more than welcome. Stay safe and keep beautiful. Okay?
Thank you. And if you have any questions or comments, we want to hear from you. As always, don't be shy. Give us a call or email. Pop something in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest updates as we release content. So thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you soon.